I think there's really just three scenarios that exist when it comes to dealing with a woman's girlfriends, dealing with difficult girlfriends. She's either going to want you, she's going to hate you, or she's going to be indifferent about you. Women are hypergamous, we know this, so they're always going to want the bigger, better deal. So if she doesn't have a guy in her life or has a bit of a loser guy in her life and her best friend's guy looks more attractive, a better option, women do tend to steal dudes, from their girlfriends, or they'll sleep with them, or they'll, pull any number of things. So it's either a desire thing, like she wants him, it's she hates him, which is the other side of the spectrum, where she's basically just going to talk shit about the guy. He's a loser. You can do better, girl. He's too short, too fat, too ugly, too bald, too hairy, too whatever, she wants to insert. But apparently he's not good enough, and she wants her to leave the dude or to go find something better. This often happens with women when they live miserable lives and they have nothing going on. Then what they'll tend to do is like, I want her to be miserable too. I know he's a good guy, but I'm going to make up a bunch of shit and I'm going to get her to bounce with me so we can go back to the nightclubs and dance on bars together. So there's option one. She wants him, she hates him, or she's indifferent. So let's take a look at what guys are all saying over here. So physionic. I once got in an argument with a girlfriend of mine that lasted, I'll go full screen. I know some of you guys can't see it. That lasted 8+ hours on my birthday. When we finally reached a conclusion, she decided to go to the other room in my apartment and call her girlfriends. Her friends told her I was a cruel person. You'll get that. Why? I mean, I always tell you guys, you want to consider the source. Would you walk a mile in their shoes? Do they look like they know what they're talking about, sort of thing? And taking advice from a bunch of other girls calling you a cruel person. This generally happens, by the way. You generally get called a cruel person if you set boundaries. He's a big meanie, right? Because he won't let you post provocative pictures on Instagram. He's a cruel person. He's too controlling, or something like that, right? And then goes on to say that she should break up with me, along with many other insults. Yeah, it like I said earlier, it always follows with insults, So this one falls into the hate him category. So, the insults will be something like, he's a dork, he's broke, he's ugly, whatever. They're going to make up something. This influenced her to start another fight about an hour later, where she called me all the names her friends had mentioned. I sat silently as I listened. Then I got up, threw out the dinner I prepared for both of us, and kicked her out of my apartment and life. That's what I'm talking about. That's how you respond. She begged me not to break up with her, but she unfortunately listened to her friends, and it lost her. By her own admission, the best relationship she ever had. My advice is vet her friends just as much as you vet her. Do they disagree with her? Or do they only enable her emotional outbursts? If so, it's a deal breaker, lesson learned. All right, this guy's red-pilled as fuck. He must have read my book. This dude's unplugged. This is exactly like, if he were to call in and say this is what happened, that's essentially what I would have told him to do. All right, let's see what Joe has over here. And I'm going to move back and forth to the screens. I know there's a bunch of guys over here in the live chat, but I'm going to get to some of the questions there. The super chats pop easier for me to pull out. Joe says, my biggest struggle, or better yet, lesson learned, was believing that my ex wasn't the good girl of the group. All right, so we've got this dynamic of, birds of a feather flock together, yeah? It's true. And you're always going to become the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So this guy over here, Joe, is saying, or better yet, lesson learned, was believing that my ex wasn't the good girl of the group. Let's go back to the full screen. The good girl. If her friends are promiscuous, you guarantee it. She's going to be promiscuous too. It's not often that you've got 5 women that are total garden tools, and then the 6th is like a prude, a virgin prude. Doesn't usually happen. Again, birds of a feather flock together, right? She would talk about her 2 or 3 best friends being a certain way, but painted herself as the noble angel. My best friends are doing this, that, and the other thing. I'll tell you what, I've seen this movie a dozen times. I've seen this movie a lot. You go out with her and she's like, oh, Becky is such a promiscuous blah, blah, blah. And Nancy does this with all the guys in the bar, and so is doing that in the bathroom, sort of thing. They're just blah, blah, blah. And as he points over here, the noble angel. I'm the noble angel. I'm not like those other girls. Sure, why are you hanging out with them then, ho? Goes on to say, went on a girls' trip to Jupiter, Florida, came back, and the Virginia was loose. Look at the language he uses. Literally, the things you learn over the years from being. What did she get it on with? Freaking hippopotamus, dude. Um, the things you learn over the years from being in an LTR is painful and phenomenal at the same time. Put yourself first, like these creators say. You don't have to be a narcissist or prick. Just don't put your career, your hobbies, or move somewhere you don't want to go for a girl. It never ends well. He's absolutely right. Dude is also unplugged. That's how it goes. Let's see what Doug's got to say. Dougie boy. Speaking of Dougie boy, did you guys see the new Raptor? Bronco Raptor? It just got revealed today. I was watching Doug DeMuro doing a walk around on it. Daddy likes. Anyway, Doug here says, basically all my last ex's friends were intersectional feminists. What the hell is an intersexual feminist? Like, anyway, she wasn't always like them, but eventually brought up their rhetoric. We got into an argument and she started spouting all the man-hating feminist BS. I told, yeah, that usually boils down to the patriarchy, oppression, blah, 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 the standard stuff. So you can't please those women. I mean, I explicitly say in my book, in the 20 red flag chapters, not to mess with women like that. It's about a man hating, blah, blah, blah. She didn't, so I left. If her friends are shitty people, she will eventually become just like them. Back to my point, you will become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, let's see what Igor's got here for us. Sorry, I'm going to go back full screen. Where's the full screen? There we go. Story time. My now wife of 15 years and I met when our common friend, female, relevant to the story, introduced us to each other. We started dating soon practically forgot about that friend. She became very jealous, told my then girlfriend that I'm a womanizer and that I'd bang every girl I meet and that she was just one of many. Why would you introduce your friend to a guy like that? If you're so good and wholesome and all that sort of stuff. We cut contact with her completely, and now the climax of the story. I had been friend zoned by that girl for like a year or more at that time. So he wanted to get with the girl. The girl didn't want to get with the friend zone boy, introduces friend zone boy to another girl, and then starts making up stories about friend zone boy being a player. She hates the dude. She just, whatever. Let's see what Bill's got to say for us. My only struggle was realizing that the opinion of my girlfriend's friends of me was irrelevant. After several learning experiences, I learned not to give a doot. If my girlfriend wants to listen to the jaded and biased opinions of her relationship bankrupt friends, and they often are. I mean, they are a train wreck. Like imagine taking the advice of somebody living a train wreck life. But that's what women do, right? Because they're very, it's not even tribal, they're just cliquey, Like I've seen women maintain friendships with utter and complete losers from their high school years just because, well, I had known Becky for so long, so I can't exclude her from the circle. That's what women do, right? They allow these anchors in their lives. I tell guys all the time, anchors are sails, right? Sails fill with wind, take you to your next passage. Anchors hold you back. Women are real bad with anchors. I'll just keep Becky around because, she's part of the social group and I've known her since high school. Meanwhile, she's moved on, making $250,000 a year, doing something with her life, has a happy marriage with a dude, but, Becky's holding things back because she's a nerd, but let's keep her in the circle. It's not just guys that complicate their lives and justify why. Women do it too. My last go around, I called a group of her friends the Bitter Bitches Club. and she said she wasn't just a member, but the president. Ended that relationship, changed my criteria, so I'm blissfully happy. Oh yeah, those boss girls. You can go, girl. You know more than me, and I admire the help you give other men not to settle. It's hard and real. Enjoy your content very much. Alpha Lives Matter. Unplugged Lives Matter. Router. I had a girlfriend that had a lot of girlfriends that liked to party, were into drugs, or were sleeping around frequently. As a result, she was constantly tempted to join them and constantly mocked for having a boring life. Guys, The way that this dude at the top here handled it, okay, where he basically said I threw her at the dinner and I sent her off. Personally, that's my favorite response mechanism. Other guys are going to want to argue, negotiate, deal with, like, why? Why would you want to unnecessarily complicate your life? You know, it's one of the things that drives me nuts about men. Like, I see guys do it all the time. I like her and she's got a relationship with my kids and da, 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 sort of thing. And it's like, yeah, but she's toxic. Yeah, I know, but da, 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 da. Yeah, but that sounds like a lot of work. Yeah, I know, but da, 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 da. Don't do that. Don't do that. I mean, do it if you want. All I'm saying is, I don't do that. Why would you want to complicate your life unnecessarily? Be like, what's this dude's name again? Physionic. What else we got here? Like to party and drugs. We covered that one. If she has a lot of difficult friends, there's a good chance she's going to be difficult as well. Be careful. A wise man once said, "Show me your 5 best friends, and I'll show you who you are." Absolutely. I once had an argument with a lady on Facebook years ago. A stupid argument. She said, "Why would you argue with a woman on Facebook?" Oh, guys, stop arguing with women, especially on social media. Don't argue with anybody on social media. Morons, most of them. A stupid argument she started because I said congrats to another guy for his job promotion. All right, so dude says congrats to a guy on Facebook for his job promotion, and then she initiates an argument. Yes, you read that right. Next thing I know, 3 people on her friends list are online bashing me over this BS that she started. My point is that if you guys can avoid a woman who spends a lot of time on social media with her 3,000 friends, you are much better off. Hey, look, anybody that spends too much time on social media arguing with other people, you don't want them around you, trust me. Get away from the gossipy bull crap. How to deal with a woman's difficult girlfriends. Don't. Birds of a feather flock together. Isn't that what I said? If she doesn't already have a respectable friend group, she's not worthy of a committed relationship. The headache is not worth the upkeep. Spin her as a plate. Friends with benefits. Whatever it is that you want to do, you just don't invite. A woman that's got difficult girlfriends should not be invited into your life. Simple as that. If she hangs out with 5 losers, she's going to be the 6th. Simple as that. Why would you invite that in your life? You're just going to unnecessarily complicate it. And then you're going to be like, I don't understand, Rich. My life's complicated. What's going on? It's like, dude, wake up. What's Corey got? Corey Smith says, I learned that a woman who is who she hangs out with. Yep. Doesn't matter how she acts in front of you. She can go back to being like them in a heartbeat. She was that way before you met her. She'll be that way after you're gone. Put yourself first and listen to your instincts. Word. They're pretty much saying all the same thing. LSG, I have made it very clear how I feel about my girlfriend's friends since the beginning and throughout our relationship. Some of her friends are just so stupid it's not even funny. We are one of the only couples, both of our friend groups, that aren't married or have kids. And holy Christ, the shit show that the shit show that came out of her friends are going through right now is comical. I love when I can say called it every damn time. It's also funny how our friends keep pressuring us to buy a house and have kids and blah, 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 when they know that we are trying to become financially set first. I'm also working on my business and the way people judge you instead of, yeah. I, it's interesting because people will often say, well, why don't you buy a house? And when are you going to have kids? And when are you going to get married? And blah, 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 blah. And I see all these married people, all these married couples, okay, that are like, when are you going to get married? No, 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 no. I mean, you put a ring on her finger. No, no, no. But the truth of the matter is they're all freaking miserable. I've literally gone through this exercise of going through my contact list. I mean, you could do it on Facebook, you could do it anywhere, and take a look at all the people that like them, right? Like you've met their family, their girlfriend, their wives, their kids, like what they do for a living, like their friends, like you actually know them, like in real life, and then take an inventory of how many of them are actually happy in these marriages and these long-term live-in type of relationships. And there's a distinct difference in that ratio versus the people that are not living together. Girlfriends are always better than wives, right? When people start living together and they get married and they have kids, the misery level goes up. And I tell you, the encouragement that you see and hear here, I think there's an underlying need for them to want to see other people miserable too, if I'm being honest. That's just what it looks like for the most part.